They said this Steve Hart place here at one time was a gas station on the old Highway 50. Up ahead of us is the Gaither place, and this guy's wanted me to go around him, I guess. I'll have to try to get it zipped around here. A little slow. But this Commander Gaither, who was one of the founders of the Navy SEALs, raised his family. He was a graduate of Washington High School, married a Birch girl, and moved her out here. He died in 1983 of mesothelioma, and this is the Gaither place. Up ahead of us on the right is the old Solar Sources wash station they hauled all the coal into. That house there was Shake Craney's. Steve Craney house was back here, just north of it. There is a cemetery in this area here. Off on the right. When I was a kid, this was not a stop sign, this was through, and they changed that. Now that the coal trucks aren't running, they may need to rethink that and put it back to the way it was. If the commissioners are paying attention, pay attention here. We're at 900 East and 100 South, and stop signs need to go back to the way they were. Now the coal trucks aren't running. Okay, and there's Shake Craney's place. It's Howard Shake Craney. He's a township trustee for many years. Now up here on the right is Galen Graber's place, and a long time ago the Miller clan lived there when I was really young, up until about 1970. And this had a large two-story brick house here, I was told, and that was a stagecoach stop. Now the Craneys, Steve Craney told me that they also had a stagecoach stop down by their house, which might have been earlier, but this was the one in more recent times, you might say, here on the right. On the left is where Paul Wade raised his family, and the many different Wades that are still here in Daviess County grew up here on this left. As we go down this hill, I remember when this was Rock Road. On the left, about right here, was a spring in the side of the road. It would be, I can see water there in the ditch right now, but it would be wet there all the time. As we approach this intersection, this is where the Hall Road crossed. 800 East is my home road on to the left, 2 miles south of here. But they had, there's a new Mennonite school going up here on the right. And I might turn here and show that to you. This woods out here in front of us used to be a farm field. And when I was a kid, that was still being farmed. But here's the new Mennonite school here at this church. The Mennonites took over this church a few years back, and I was talking to one of the members here, and they told me that they had been sending their kids to a school north of Montgomery, and they're building up their population here. Thought it would be better if they would change. So you can see this what some people would call McCracken or Morgan. Eileen Everman's people are buried here, Morgans. I'm distant related to some Morgans through Suttons. But one of my ancestors, Sutton, had a daughter, Mary Morgan. So back on Highway 50 here. Again, the Hall Road straight out in front of me. When I was a kid, there was a pond right here. This is the old Billings place. I call this the Billings Crossroad. This area right that I'm driving over was real slick at one time. Be slick anytime. On the right here, Grant Bradley's house. I can remember when the old farmhouse was here and they moved it It was back behind, and they built this house, tore down the farmhouse. And these are some of the newer homes here, but now have been here a while. Off on the left, you see this house. There used to be an old farmhouse here with a barn. That was Mrs. Bradley's place that taught us. And then here, where this tree is, that was Mike Steiner's place. His famous quote was, a man who would say he's the head of his own house would probably lie about other things too. You can see off in the distance there's St. Peter's. This is Jack Steiner place here. Jack actually raised his family off on the left here. Wagglers have now. Up on the right here is the Icenoggle place. We used to own the farm off to the right here along the highway, the Remstead place, and we would turn in this driveway and drive across this place to get to our farm. We had permission to do that, so you can see a young Vince Sellers on a 190 XT with a disc or a plow turning in there and heading over to the Remstead place. Also farmed the Route place on the north side of the highway. This is the bus route that I took coming in, part of it. I remember being on this almost every day. Off on the right you see woods up there, and that's Oddfellow Cemetery up in that woods. A lot of people don't realize there's a cemetery there. This is the Newt processing plant that Larry and Terry Abel own. They were trying to maintain the High Rock Church down there. Terry is Edwards, Noble Edwards' daughter. And if you have any money to help them with the cemetery fund down there, please stop by there and help her. If you have any connection to High Rock Church, if you just want to help, High Rock's way down in Southern Reef Township, close to Noble Edwards' place. Noble's been gone a few years. This again is Old Highway 50. Coming up on McCracken's Curve. There have been a lot of people killed on McCracken's Curve. Not too long ago, Nelson Wagler got killed there. So my classmate at my age. Off on the left is Lee Kavanaugh's place. The late Lee Kavanaugh. We have his Montgomery Viking sweater in the museum. And Lee emphasized to me that he was a Montgomery Viking, not a Bar-E Viking. One of the tricks we do here is we cut across the parking lot here, and that way we can get a more square-on view of the traffic, and that's where I'm going to stop.